am sick and tired of every single week people going, Simon, you're so biased. You're clearly paid off by AEW, to the point I just... Give me 1 second. Hey, Big Tone, what's going down? Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Absolutely living the dream. Oh, that's great news. That's awesome. That money will be in my bank account next week. I really appreciate it. I just realized, no, don't send me that money. Shit. So make sure you take your Men in Black flashy thingy and flash it into your eyes and forget everything I just said. Hello, my name is Simon from WhatCulture, that's what I've written on my birth certificate, and we do just have another episode of AEW Rampage, so there's only one thing we've got to do. We talk to that's right, this guy, the finger of power, and he's going to tell us what bit's getting up and what bit gets down. And if you're thinking to yourself, Simon, do you actually talk to your hand? You bet your ass I do. Let's up those downs. I mean, what a silly way to start Rampage this week. If you're into wrestling, and I'm going to presume that you are, hence what you're watching right now, we had Danielson versus Trent, and it rocked. Willie Regal was also on commentary, so I was having a great time, and Trent was on fire at the start of this, before Danielson decided, I am going to kick you so hard in the chest, I thought Trent's skin was going to come off. And then Daniel tried to do a dive to the outside, but Trent caught him and did a suplex. I was like, we've only been going a few minutes, what the flap is going on? We then kept going back and forth as Brian threw Trent into Simba the Steel Steps. And the whole time on commentary, Regal was like, look, I like Trent. I think he's a great wrestler, but where he really lets himself down is hanging out with the best friends. I don't know why I found that funny, but I did. They then just exchanged chops because who really needs skin when they started going move for move and counter for counter. Like at one point, Trent was going to go for a DDT, but from nowhere, Danielson busted out a rolling elbow. And I honestly have never done anything that smooth. Danielson was then kneeing Trent right in the head. And when they were fighting on the top rope and it looked like Bryan Danielson was going to throw Trent off, he reversed it and hit a bulldog instead. So we're just going to do it. We have to give them the round of applause. I don't know what that means, but given that I was doing it there on my sofa, I thought I should do it on the video too. There was a bunch of near falls here, and while I never actually thought Trent was going to win, it certainly did get me. And eventually Bryan was able to hit the pile driver. He then kicked Trent's head in. I shouldn't laugh, it's not funny, it was so damn brutal. And then he locked in this like inverted label lock thing, and I actually thought he was gonna tear Trent's head off. And this was doubly good when it came to the finish, because the whole time Trent had been selling his neck because it's surgically repaired and he was wiggling his fingers. Honestly, this is a terrific wrestling match, and it was the first thing we saw on Rampage. Do you wanna know what followed this too? Utter nonsense, and I love it when wrestling pulls this kind of 180. Because Lexi Nair was trying to interview Hook, who was eating some potato chips, but he basically ignored her. He then took the packet and he was gonna throw it in the trash when Danhausen came out of the bin and he tried to curse Hook. For the second time he couldn't do it, so he kind of scratched his head like, man, what am I gonna do? When he then ate the chips instead. And look, this was so goofy, it was so stupid, but goofy, stupid wrestling is my favorite thing. To the point, I am gonna give it up. I just have to. I was so entertained and I was just going, ha 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 ha. This is the kind of stuff I like to show people that don't like wrestling, and they look at me like I'm scum, but I don't care. Up. On a quick side note though, we absolutely have to turn Sammy Guevara heel. Let me tell you why. Because Scorpio Sky was here in the ring saying, man, I'm the greatest TNT champion, when he was indeed interrupted by Conti and Sammy. So bring it down, that's 32 interruptions in AEW and 94 in all of wrestling. He started saying, man, you guys are a pile of crap and we hate you and we hope you fall down the stairs. But as soon as Dan Lambert and Ethan Page started running him down, if you listen carefully, people started to boo Sammy Guevara. Page even said that he doesn't want his kids to turn out like these two. There were people going, yeah, man, we totally agree with you, so we are just gonna have to open our ears, listen to this, and do a little bit of fiddling. It also just fell into all the usual immature vibes as well. And the best bit was Sammy Guevara was like, man, I know you're gonna come out with some nonsense, and I don't wanna deal with it anymore. I was like, Sam, my friend, S-Dog, you the guy that was talking about sperm? So when it comes to the bar, it's like down here. Ultimately though, I just don't think this feud is working because we do need to switch everything around. And when we eventually do Scorpio Sky versus Sammy Guevara, the match itself is going to be fire. But yeah, Sammy should just come in as the villain. That's why I gotta give it a down. Chris Jericho then had a whole video package where he made Cutie Martial his sports entertainer of the week. And honestly, that was flipping brilliant. When it was time for QT versus Swerve Strickland, I really dug it. As ever, QT is just the perfect foil for this because he gets the other person over and then some. And at one point, he threw Strickland out the ring, who did like this flip thing, and he landed on his feet. And I stared at Swerve, which was a little bit weird, and I thought to myself, I am never going to be as cool as you. And it's true. Ultimately though, this was a relatively short match, and when Martial went for the diamond cutter, Swerve Strickland cut him off, he gave him a flatliner, he then booted him right in the back of the head, he got the 1, 2, 3, and it seems like we're taking our time with Swerve, but I tell you, when we pull that trigger, he gonna fly. It also allowed us to continue on with the Rampage storyline we have been building for weeks, because Ricky Starks got on the microphone, he was like, listen to me, Mr. Strickland. On Dynamite, I'm gonna team with Powerhouse Hobbs to take on you and Keith Lee. And I tell you, I am so ready for that. I think they're going to steal the show, they're gonna put it in their pocket and run away. I am giving it up. We also confirmed the build to other programs too, because Marina Shafir responded to Jade Cargill, and that's another match I'm looking forward to, when it was time for an Owen Hart qualifying match. This saw Red Velvet taking on Willow Nightingale, and one, this continues the run of amazing names of people that just come out of nowhere, and two, my word, this was clearly Willow's hometown, and everybody was going crazy for her, and that is what wrestling is all about, and it made me feel all warm and fuzzy in my dum-dum. It also worked really well because it actually made you, or me in this case, start to go, maybe she's actually going to win. And when she pounced the absolute crap out of Red Velvet and went for the pin, again, my brain was going crazy, going, oh my gosh, Willow Nightingale is going to qualify for this tournament. This was doubly true when she hit this cannonball in the corner where she basically squashed Red. But ultimately, that was not the case. Velvet was able to fight back. She hit the corkscrew kick. She got the 1, 2, 3. But another reason this was so good is that Red Velvet didn't pretend that she was a babyface. She lapped up the boo. She was all like, haha, you absolute morons, I did it. So I tell you, the best thing about Red Velvet, as I say all the time, is we see her improve each and every single week. And now that I've seen her as a bad guy, well, I think we've probably turned her into a bad guy. You can also sign up Nightingale as well, because I thought she did herself the world of good here. So all of this was great. All of this was good. I'm giving it up. Excalibur then just dropped in the fact that on Dynamite, for the Ring of Honor TV title, we are going to do Samoa Joe versus Suzuki. I'm sorry, Excalibur, I like you. I think you're one of the best commentators in the game, but you can't just drop that without giving me time to get ready for it. I basically fell on the floor. We then jumped to an interview with Tony Nese, where he got interrupted by Mark Sterling, so that's 33 interruptions at AEW and 95 in all of wrestling. And this kind of got me intrigued, because Mark was all like, Tone, you ain't really doing much right now. Why don't you join my group of guys and I will try and help you? Now, I quite like that because Sterling is really good in this role, and if we can build like a massive stable around him, well, it just seems to make all the sense in the world. So that's exactly what we should do. I don't have anything else to say about it. And then, my friends, if you have been a fan of Wheeler Yuta ever since he debuted in AEW with a tremendous name, you have probably wanting and been waiting for him to succeed. Well, on this evening, he main evented Rampage alongside Jon Moxley, and he took the ball, and he didn't just run with it, he basically ate the thing and became a star. I mean, you knew they were going to go crazy here because they were basically brawling even before the bell rung, and they started to fight here, there, and everywhere around the audience. Jon Moxley eventually got the better of this, and when they were back on the outside, he placed Wheeler Yuta's head on Simba the Steel steps, and he curb stomped him into it. Then when we cut back to Wheeler's face, he was just bleeding everywhere. This is when we started to plant the seeds in order to make this guy the man. Because no matter what Moxley did to this dude, he would just not stay down, which was doubly cool because, of course, he was wearing the crimson mask. Like, at one point, he had been basically punched in the face 1,792 times when he climbed to the top rope and he cross-bodied Jon Moxley through the damn Al in the announce table. This is when the fans started to go fight forever, which was doubly impressive because do not forget this Rampage was filmed after Dynamite, so every single person in that arena had basically seen 3 hours of wrestling, but they were so captivated by this, they were like, damn it, we cheering for Willow. They then went into the reversals, and by this stage, every single fan wanted Yuta to win. So when he locked in the crossface, I think if he had ripped off Jon Moxley's nose, everybody would have gone good. The most savage bit is when Jon went after the wound, like he was just eating and mulling away on it. But I think it now served as a, man, I didn't appreciate that button, because Wheeler Yuta started fighting back. Moxley then hit him with the paradigm shift, and the referee went 1, and the referee went 2, but the referee didn't go 3 because Wheeler kicked out, and this is when Moxley did his wrestling face. But for once, this actually worked perfectly because you would be stunned. Where the hell did that come from? Yuta then kicked out again after the super duper paradigm shift, the Death Rider, and that's when I was just losing my mind. I actually thought, are they going to allow Wheeler Yuta to win? Which was doubly dumb, because Rampage had already been spoiled for me, and I knew that wasn't the case. Instead, Moxley transitioned right into the Bulldog choke, and he choked Yuta out to get the victory. But then this got even better still, because out came Bryan Danielson, out came William Regal. They were all like 90s, 80s villains, like, we're gonna beat you up, we're gonna beat you up. But they didn't. They shook his hand. He is now in their club, which is when he took his hand, he rubbed a bunch of blood on it, and he put BCC on his chest. That is one of the most flubbed up things I've ever seen in my life. So that needs to go on a t-shirt immediately, and I will buy it for money from my wallet. But look, if you haven't seen this, you need to change it right now. And if you need one further push, this doesn't just get it up, it gets the golden up. Which brought us to the end of Rampage, and recently Tony Khan had said, man, I've been looking at Rampage and I'm going to inject it with a lethal dose of fun. And if this is what he meant, good grief. The show is about to get even better than it has been over the last few months. And overall, I am giving it an up. Now, please do leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of AEW Rampage. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Then do the 3 things of YouTube, which I said earlier on SmackDown Ups and Downs, which just means I'm unoriginal. But go to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some wrestling articles, follow us on social media at WhatCulture WWE, I'm at Simon316, and just go watch another video. And if you're into ups and downs, you can do that for SmackDown, and then the circle of life is complete. That's what Elton John was singing about. My name is Simon for WhatCulture. Thank you for joining me as always. The Saturday Madness is done, but I will see you next week. Ow.